So I have the easiest ever designer skirt for you to sew today and wear tonight. I'll show you how. Coming up. Hey, Chanel here, bringing you weekly videos to help you get better and better with your fashion sewing and be more creative too. So be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on a new video. Do you ever have a favorite garment in your closet that you just love and it's your go-to all the time? Well, I have a favorite skirt that I love, and it's just this simple, like yoked skirt with a little, just a tad of a flounce of a skirt, and broken up at the seams here. That's called a yoke, and an elastic band. The elastic band's a little on the wide side, but it's very comfortable, so it's not real grippy or anything. It's very comfortable, and I love wearing this skirt just with boots. It's my go-to comfortable skirt that you can just wear with everything. So I copied it and added a little bit extra flounce to it, a little shorter yoke, and do a little different elastic on it. So improved it even more. And I ended up making it about a year ago I call it my New Year's Eve skirt. And I made this one here. So I did a pleather top, and had trouble with this little connection part, and I always like to add a little bit of extra on my garments, so I added a bias piping in there and then trimmed it on the edge here. But I also had this fabric in my stash for probably 15 years. It was a chiffon with the roses, and I love it. And I needed a lining, so I lined it with a glitter type of fabric I had in my stash. So I think all this was just fabric I had in my stash, and I love this roll over elastic. I have it on my website on futurefashiondesigners.com. Underneath the tab, it either says products or stuff, and it's the Dritz fold over. I'll show it to you when I start making it. I gotta go find it. So I just simple skirt, and I ended up have it all printed out in a PDF form. This is all it is, a yoke and a simple skirt. I have that for you in the link below. Just click it on there and it'll take you over to the PDF. I have it in 2 different sizes, small and a medium, and large to extra large to extra large. I use the extra large. It's like the extra large is like the pattern. If you bought a size 16, 18 pattern, which is if you wear a size 12 in the store, you do the extra large. So I don't know if you know about patterns fit a little differently than they do retail wise. I have a whole video on that. It's mistakes people make is they buy the wrong pattern size. They buy what they would wear in retail. It's completely different. Like my friend, she wears a size like 6'8" in the store, but she'll wear 14 pattern. Big difference. So know that. You got to measure yourself, and if you measure your hips when you're making a skirt, you have to measure more your butt. So your hip bone is kind of wide here, so you measure the butt part, the fullest part of your hip, like that. And that's how you get the right pattern size. So I have videos on that too if you need to look. So I have the Betty, I call it the Betty pattern, and I have that available for you. And I'm going to show you how to make it. Real simple thing. You probably make it in an hour. It depends on how well you sew. But I have this fabric here. I just was donated. My school got donated some beautiful silk fabrics from a lady who passed away, and I just utilizing her fabrics, and she had this in her stash, and I just love it. And I thought, this is good classic fabric. I'm gonna make something out of it. So cut the skirt. I have it pinned down. I need to cut 2 of these. Have the fabric all laid out straight grained, and then just cut out 2 of these. You have slippery fabric. Probably want to really pin it down, because if it slips around, you get a very crooked edges. There we go. Cut 2 on the fold. Pretty simple. Da-da-da. Okay. Now to cut out the The other part of the yoke, this is torn edge right here. I'm going to just bump it right here. I want this flower right in the center like that. Bump it right up to there. I think I'll put a weight on that. And then pin it really well down because it's a little bit of slippery fabric. You don't want it to slip around. Just pin that. And then cut it out. Okay, now to sew the side seams together. Gotta find the right side. This fabric's kind of hard to find the right sides. The pretty sides, as we call them. So I have 2 skirt pieces. I'll put them right sides together. Match up the side seams. This grain is very wobbly. And I'm going to pin in the direction I'm going to pull them out. There are no notches on the side seams, but it's pretty clear. I don't think there's any notches. I didn't cut any. Pretty clear how those go. And it's kind of a wobbly seam. That's why I pin it. I know a lot of people don't pin, but it really helps. So I'm just going to sew 5/8 down that side, and then I'm going to flip this over to then prepare the side seam on this side. Right, wrong sides together. Pin this. I have to start from top to bottom and get it both balanced out in the center like that. Okay, so we're going to go and sew that. I'm also going to prep the yoke now. So I have the yoke, right sides together, and go and sew this side seam also. Again, with, I probably should have made this skirt in a cotton. It would have been a little easier to show you. But then you can kind of see the struggle of this drapey fabric. This is a jacquarded silk charmeuse, so it's got like a print in it. So it's a little, silk is actually good to work with because it's a little on the gummy side, which is kind of an odd word, but it's not as slippery as poly charmeuse is, and it at least sticks together a little bit better. And with these silks, you want to use more pins so that it stays together. Make sure you want the raw edges together like that. And then you're going to sew 5/8 of an inch here. You could mark it or use the seam guide on the sewing machine here. So 5/8 would look like right about here, all the way down. Need a different color on that one, but I'm going to use my seam guide. Reverse stitch on the top, reverse stitch on the bottom. So we got 4 seams to go and sew. Now to sew the side seam of my skirt. It's really moving around. So I have my seam guide on here. Get started. A couple stitches forward, a couple stitches back to lock the stitch down. Sew the side seams. You have wobbly fabric, just take your time, make sure the raw edges stay even. Otherwise you'll have a crooked yoke. Okay, here. Reverse the edge here. Turn it off. Here's your side seam. I gotta do the other side. Okay, now for this side seam with the skirt, it's the same thing. Make sure the raw edges are even. I have some slippery fabric here. Start it there, reverse. Keep it in place. This is where some of that little glue dot might work. Which I never use because I don't like to put glue on fabric. So there, make sure the raw edges stay even. Straight down. Reverse. Yep. There's one side seam. Now I gotta do the next side seam. Okay, next I have the side seams pressed right here. So I have a nice flat seam. It's nice and flat on the other side. Trim all the threads is helpful. So you do that to all four side seams, the yoke and the skirt. Press them all open. Next we have to attach the yoke to the skirt. So I have these all right side out. I'm going to turn the yoke part wrong side out. I'm going to make sure my waist part is not getting attached. It's the wider part. I'm going to attach them at the side seams right here. Match up these pressed open. Match those up. That. I always kind of start right at the side seams, and then this has to blend. This fabric is really hard to work with. It's very slippery. Then side seams. Then usually I put a bias or some kind of fabric in between my layers a lot here, but just to show you how to quickly put these skirts together, I'm not going to do that. I might take it apart later and add a bias, a silk bias, probably in the cream color here. I always love to add that little bit extra, as I say. So it looks like it's it's not exactly matching up. So what I'm going to do is, it's all in the pinning really. So one part just got more stretched than the other. Also, so if you just, a lot of my students do this, they're like, it's not matching, and I'll take it apart and just repin it, and then it works. So another reason why you have to pin really, because if you just go take it to the machine, it doesn't always work out. There, see now, I just reset the pins, and it's all fitting, because if the pattern fits, then the fabric should fit. If it was all cut correctly and all sewn correctly, that means matching up or doing, the right seam allowance and not just winging it. And then pinning all that first. I'm going to just go a little bit from side seam to side seam. Try not to stretch one layer more than the other. And also in that pattern there was a little half notch, which is actually really helpful. That was this is the pattern here, and there's a little half notch here. If you actually cut the V right there, we would know where the center fronts are. So that would be on the yoke and in the skirt, and then you can match up the center fronts, or not the center fronts, the yoke. Slippery fabric, oh my gosh. Okay, there we go. So now this all matches up. Everything, there's no gap. It's a little iffy there, looks pretty good. Now I'm just going to go and sew this 5/8 all the way around. Hopefully my pins stay in here. And then I'll have a yoke. It will look like that. Yoke and the skirt, and now it's becoming one skirt. Okay, now to start this part, I like to start on a seam a lot, or a side seam a lot. For some reason, I don't know. Make sure they're open and they're matched. Just gonna use my seam guide. Actually, not even gonna reverse. I'm just gonna sew over it when I come back around. I'm gonna take this part off. And then make sure these raw edges stay together. I'm just going to sew around. all good. I had a little bit of a slip right there. I have to look and see how that looks. I have to take it out right here and lift it up. Okay, all sewn together. The next step is to press that seam that goes from the yoke to the skirt, going up towards the yoke. That seems to be the best way. And pressing all this up here, that pressed there, and then it should be nice and flat all around there. Voila! I have what resembles a skirt. Pretty simple, right? So now the next thing to do is just add elastic to the top. Now the pattern does not have a casing pattern on there. If you wanted to do a casing, you would add maybe 1.5 inches here, and then this would be your fold line, and then you'd roll it down and then stitch it. I have a video on how to sew elastic casing. I can leave it at the end of this video or as a card up here. I can put the video link on there. But this pattern just calls for the 1-inch fold over elastic, and it's basically just folds over. There's kind of a crease in it right here, and it just folds right over. It's so simple to put on, and it's actually just, it's meant for, I mean, just makes it thinner, and you don't see the elastic in the, you know, all crunched up. And it's not for like real big elastic casings, but just when it just kind of subtly grips like that. You can say. But so I'll show you how to put on the fold over elastic too. I also have a tutorial on this, how to use this elastic also. That might give you a little more detail on it, but I'll show you how to do that part. I put this around my waist and like put it comfortable, kind of like got my measurement, just gripped it, just let it stretch a little bit where it was comfortable. Then I sewed it in half right here, so I had like this will be my center back mark, and then I'm going to find the half of that, that'll be the center front. I mark it with a chalk right here, get the center front. Then I fold that in half. I'm going to get the quarters, that's what's going to be on the side seams, because the skirt's pretty even right here. So I'm going to do, so I got 4 spots. So I'm going to write, this is my center back right here. And then I got to attach it to the waist. On here too, I'm also going to make sure I like the front of the design. I want to know where my front's going to be. I think I might have the front right here. I'm looking at the design right here. Yeah, I don't think I like that in the center, so I'm going to make this my front. And then, now if I would have clipped those notches on here on that pattern, the little notch right here, it would look like that. You just cut like half a V, and then you would have a V. So actually, what I'm going to do is find the half of this. It's really going to help. I just forgot to do that. I usually don't do it on the pattern. I do it when I cut it, which it's better to do it on the pattern. I'm going to put little tiny V's right here. I only got one. I'm going to get the other one. There. Now I know where my center front and center back are. And again, this is going to be my center front. So I want to start with center back right here. Find the center back with the seam. I always like to where the seam is at. That always kind of tells me where the center back is. And I'm just going to pin it right here. It's my iron shutting off. And then I'm going to find the quarter, the next marked quarter, and put that at the side seam right here. Mark it right there. Make sure those pins stay in, they grip well, because then I'll be sewing it like this. I have to stretch it as I sew, so I'm going to be really making sure the pins stay in. Then I find the center front. It's right here. That's like half and half right there, so that fabric should tuck right up into the crease of that. I'm going to find the next quarter on my elastic and put that on the side seam. Where'd it go? Right here. Ooh, can't even tell where it's at. So that black. There's no print on it. Right there. Make sure they're strong and secure. Now I'm going to go and sew this. I'm going to start at the center back and then put it on the zigzag stitch. Okay, I have this on a zigzag. I'm going to lengthen the stitch, and I'm also going to lengthen the width of the zigzag. I'm going to start the center back. Where did it go? I checked them all. This last one is the center back. I'm going to start not right on the center back stitch there, but a little bit before it, so that I can get it going, and then take that pin out and then get it started right there. Okay, get the needle down. I like this machine because the needle always goes down. Then I'm going to take this and pull it right here, and in here this fabric should go right to the crease of that elastic. And sometimes I like to pull it and then get the quarter of that so I can kind of keep control. Depends on the fabric. This is a slippery fabric. I'm just going to do a quick baste right there. And I'm going to take the other part, make sure my fabric goes in not too much and not too little. Right there. And stitch that to the next quarter there. Okay. Stretch it again. In there. Hold on to the quarter. There it goes. And the next quarter, make sure it's there. Whew. Okay, that part. I'm going to fold it again. So you just do this on 4 sides. And this one, for some reason, it's just holding on really good, so I don't even have to quarter it. If this were a woven cotton, you wouldn't have to either go right in. Okay, so now I'm going to try that again. Actually, what's more, you get comfortable with it too. You can just hold it quarter by quarter. Okay, make sure it's in there. Right over your stitch. Zigzag up, put out. There you go. See, it's barely even elasticized. It didn't grip. It's not like a big pucker like that. It's just a nice grip right there, and it fits really comfortable. All right, now it's really resembling a skirt. Ta-da! Nice comfortable elastic on there. See, it just kind of shows right there. That's the center back, center front, and then when you wear it, it just kind of fits real comfortable. So that is the skirt. Next step is to try this on and decide how much I want to hem it. Tried it on. It fits perfectly. Oh my gosh, it's so comfortable. It's going to be a great skirt to wear in the summer. I'm going to hem it 1.5 inches. So I rolled it up, and I rolled it up this way because I have another idea on how to add a little bit extra to this skirt. I always like to add a little bit extra. My goal was to just make a simple skirt and just hem it, but I always have to add something. So normally it would actually just mark it on the right side and then press it on that mark and then go 50-50 under it. I also have a tutorial on how to hem a skirt. And this skirt here it's just slightly has a flare to it, so it's pretty easy, but you want to maybe, if you're just going to do a regular hem, mark where you're going to just like mark it, like I'd have 1.5 inches, go raw edge all the way 1.5 inches, and then press it on that mark, and then you can just do like a 50-50, you tuck up half of it and then the other half. But if it's like this slippery fabric, I would have probably cut off 1/2 inch there and just have 1 inch to roll under. And I always press the first mark and then stay at the ironing board and press the next one. And that's, a lot of people I see when I'm teaching sewing, they just roll it and pin it, and that's ingredients for disaster. So it's just like you get this rolled, ugly hem. And if you press everything first, you get the really nice hem, and then you have it pressed and pinned, and you just sew it, and it's much simpler. Whole tutorial on that. I'll put a link also there, and I'll put a card up on the top so you can see just how to hem a skirt. And it's what we've been using in my school here for 12 years now, and we just get really nice hems from 8-year-olds. So I mean, if an 8-year-old can do it, so can you. So what I want to do with this hem is I've had this ribbon for about a year now. I've had it for something. I don't think I ended up using it, and I just love it. It's a grosgrain kind of cream with gold flecks in it, and it really goes perfectly with this. So what I want to do is I marked the hem actually on the wrong side of this. I put marks 1.5 inches, and I'm actually going to go and iron this, press it, and get a crease so that the wrong side's coming up on the right side, because I just want to add ribbon to the whole edge of this. I tested it on here, and I put black thread. I'm going to put cream thread on there. I'm going to press that first, then I'm going to cut off. And this ribbon is 1/2 inch wide, so I'll cut it like 3/8 from that raw edge, and then because I want the stitch I'll probably put a stitch right in the middle of this ribbon, and if it's cream, it'll blend right in. But it just attach the hem, so on the underside you don't see a hem, it's just raw, or no, sorry, it's just a, the raw edge is up into the ribbon, so it looks like that. And the skirt is not really flary, so the ribbon, sometimes this ribbon doesn't mold right here, it just stuck. So it's kind of, this pattern's a little bit just simple. Right here I tested it on there, and it just, so the ribbon just has to go this way, so it's a little bit of a turn up, which you don't want the ribbon to pucker. And then also if you sew it in the middle right here, it will have less pucker. So I'm going to try it. If it doesn't work, then I have to repress, take the crease out and just make it just a little bit shorter. But I had a little bit of room. I could shorten it a little bit more, but I'm going to try it because I think it will just add that little extra to it, and have a little, that I've been wanting to use this ribbon. So anyway, so I'm going to try it. I'm going to finish my marks up on the wrong side, and then I'm going to press this part, press it up. Okay, so I have the hem pressed up on the 1.5 inch mark that I decided, and I put it, this is the right side, and went up the wrong side. It's a little opposite of what we would normally do. Then I'm going to go in and cut. I'm going to use pinking shears too, so I don't have any raw edges floating around. And I'm just going to cut about, I'm going to guess about 3/8 of an inch, or like barely a half right here. Go all the way around that, cut that off, and then I have just that part where the ribbon will just cover it right there. Okay, to get started, I'm just going to get it right there. I got cream colored thread on there. I'm just going to go around it. Make sure I think I have I'm going to have to shorten my stitch. Oh my gosh, the sticky stuff is sticking to my presser foot. Oh gosh, it's always something. Let's see, get it off that sticky stuff. Oh no. Oh, well, that wasn't good. Alright, so I got past it. Oh my gosh, might have just gummed it up. So now I can look at my presser foot right there and just use that as a guide. And I can see that little bit of black right there. Just gonna sew it right there. I think it's gonna work. Okay. Go around it. right there. I gotta slow this down. Like these machines with the speed control. So it's looking like that so far. Interesting. I think I got it anchored in there. That's good. Close. This one's a little bit of a pucker right there. Oof. Okay. Gonna continue on. Get this sewn down. Okay, coming into the end stretch here. I literally only have that much ribbon left. Cut this off here. I'm gonna come up here. I got that little sticky part here. I'm gonna trim it off there. I'm just gonna roll that there and that little sticky part. Look at that. Helps it stay down. It was a problem in the beginning. Now, helps it stick down. And that way, close it up. Ta-da! Oh, I also used a black bobbin on the back so that I wouldn't have the white. Okay, I'll see how this looks. I'm going to press it first. Voila! Skirt is finished. I can't believe how fast I put that together. It feels like maybe an hour. I didn't time it because I do the videos during it, so I didn't think I really would know, but it really didn't take me very long. So, yoke, skirt flounce, and I love this ribbon trim. I think that really turned out nice. It's like, has a nice, just little simple flounce to it. And the reason it works is because it's just very subtle and slight gather. This is all the ribbon I have left. I should check that for the next time I do that. But I also have these little buckles that I was originally wanted to use this ribbon for. So I was thinking I might just kind of, I don't know. I always like to put biases or something in between this layer, but just to make an easy skirt, I didn't do that because that actually takes a little bit more time. But this just turned out so great, and this elastic is nice and comfy right here. This is going to be just a fun go-to skirt, just to maybe lunch, going to a lunch or something, just throw it on. It's a silk charmeuse. It feels good on the inside too. It has a nice, nice glossy feel on the inside, and skirt that goes with everything. So I hope you make one. Let me know. I'd love to see pictures of it. Also download the pattern. It's the link is there for you, and real simple to put together. You only need like a yard for the skirt also, and I think like about a third or about a half, depends on the width of your fabric, for the top part, and then a little bit of elastic. You can do a regular hem on it or get a ribbon on there, because if you've been looking at ribbons in the stores, there's so many beautiful ribbons that and I love this skirt because it's just a simple flounce to it. You can add ribbon and add all, I've made this skirt a few other times too. I've also made the flounce a little bit bigger too, and I'm going to have that video for you next. I'm going to take that pattern and give you the Betty 2. That's the next project. So get out your fabric scraps. It doesn't take much fabric. So I'll see you in the next video. Okay, well, I thought I was finished with this skirt, but when I was leaving yesterday, I found this lace in my stash. Actually, it was donated to the school by the same lady who donated this fabric. So I thought, what if I add another little extra to my skirt? And I thought, I'll cut these out right here, just a couple, maybe like 3, 4 maybe, I don't know. And then I don't really like the center of this part right here, so I found these little buttons in my button stash. I love how we have button stashes. And I sew it in the middle there. I got to trim all these off. And then I place them on a few of the flowers, mainly on the sides, because you don't want them in the back and then sit on them and all. And just kind of hand stitch this all down in just a few spots. I think I'll do like a side or something. I'll have to play around with this. And I love it. Another little extra on this skirt. So now I've got 2 extras on this simple skirt. Anyway, so look in your stash, see what's around. You never know. Right, now I'm really finished. I'll see you in the next video.